Hello and welcome to another episode of Ask the Pastors. We are excited that you have joined us today and we are I'm looking forward to asking her some more of these questions, and then in return, I'm going to have to answer them. So, we always, when we pick these questions, there's a lot of thought that goes into them, I think. Anyway, and then...
You think?
I think. It's been a week, I'm just going to be honest. So...
It's been a bit of a rough morning. She got scared.
Because she scared me.
It was funny.
My heart jumped up into my throat.
It was funny.
I lost like 10 years.
It was.
I think I just shot out like another 50 gray hairs. Like they're all underneath. Like.
That's not my fault.
And then she's like, fire me for this? And I'm like, no. But I'm going to rethink that a little bit.
Ahead.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, are you ready?
Go ahead.
Don't look. No cheating. Okay, first, pink or blue, if you had to pick one of those two colors.
Obviously blue.
Okay, but what is your favorite color and why?
Lime green.
Why?
It just pops. It be popping.
Do you own any lime green clothing?
Not currently. I used to.
Do you own any lime green, accessories in your home, like coffee mugs or?
Yes.
Yes. Is it your favorite coffee mug?
No.
Okay. There we go.
My favorite coffee mug is a Christmas one because I like Christmas.
Yeah. Mine are both Christmas too. And I use them all year round.
Tis the season.
Yes.
Your favorite color?
My favorite color is purple, which is a
right.
combination of
Right.
pink and blue. See, purple, and now...
And purple, and purple. Actually,
Actually...
the reason why I wore a red shirt today is because I realized I was wearing the same two shirts every time we made a video. And you have always had purple.
Not
So
always.
All but one.
All but one?
You didn't have purple, so
That's it.
we're continuing
But not the
that
same
trend.
outfit.
No. I just have a select few shirts.
Okay, because see, my favorite color is purple, and I have lots of purple.
I don't.
Accessories, clothing, my nail polish is purple right now.
Her hair used to be purple.
It's all gone. It's so sad. Okay.
Okay.
Next question then.
Wait, you didn't say if you had to pick.
I said pink pink.
You would pick pink over blue?
Every time. I don't like blue. I don't think I look good in blue. I think I've owned two blue, I get free blue shirts. They're all free. All the blue
Right.
t-shirts I have are free.
Right.
And I think I've bought maybe two navy blue shirts because they're close to black.
Okay.
I know.
Newsflash, navy blue is close to black.
Yeah.
No.
Because it's very dark.
Okay.
Navy blue is very dark.
Continue.
Anyway.
Oh,
okay.
boy.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, boy.
The next one. If you could be Elsa for one day, what would you do with your new powers?
She's the one that freezes things.
You
and
have,
has winter-like qualities to
Yes.
her powers.
Yes.
What would I do with them?
Yes.
I would make a barista Olaf. So I could have fancy coffee anytime I want.
And he'd be funny at the same time, so you could laugh while drinking your coffee.
Right. A barista Olaf.
I like it. I like it.
What would you do?
You only get him for one day.
Not if I create the snow cloud over his head.
Okay, good point. If I could be Elsa for one day, what would I do with my new powers? I want to say that I would freeze the coronavirus.
I was going to say freeze COVID.
Shatter it, so it's completely gone. But they say that when it's going to get cold, it's going to get worse again, so I really don't want it to be cold. So I nixed that one. I don't want that one.
It's like the flu in that way, but it is not the flu.
Right, it's not the flu.
Right.
I think that I think it would be fun to build a big snow fort. A big, out here. So a big snow fort with slides and fun things. So I would pick it on the hottest day of the year. And then we would have a big snow fort with lots of fun snow things to do with the big snow cloud.
On the hottest day of the year, that'd be dope.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody from everywhere would come hang out with us.
But I like my barista idea better.
I do like your, anyway, it's okay. Would you now, related to ice, would you rather walk on coal or walk on ice barefoot?
Who is writing these questions?
I don't know, but.
Wait, is the coal burning?
I don't know, it just says, would you rather walk on coal or walk on ice? And so I'm gonna say barefoot, I added barefoot, and you get to decide. You get to make up your own coal and ice scenario.
Okay, well, I've walked on ice barefoot before, and that is very cold.
It is very cold, hence ice.
Right. If it's cold, though, if it's not burning, then obviously you pick the coal. Because even if it, even if it hurts. Yeah, anyway. You?
So you're gonna walk on ice over coal?
Yes!
Okay.
That really sucks that I just dropped that.
Mm-hmm.
I was having fun playing with it.
I know, like you just lost your toy. Okay, so I think so. When I originally thought this, okay, because I was talking to Nathan about it. Like I would rather walk.
Nathan, her husband.
My husband, yes. I would rather walk on ice because even though it's cold and it would hurt for a long time, because like cold things hurt my skin for a long time. It would hurt for a long time, but like it could heal. Whereas if I walked on coal, which is hot, like it would burn and blister and whatever. Well, then Nathan, because he thinks about things differently, he was like, is the ice smooth or is it like clumps of ice that are jagged? Because the ice would cut your feet more than the coal, which would compress and like smash under and break up. So it would be better to walk on coal than ice. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. I was just thinking about ice, which is like a frozen lake, which is smooth, or like and so.
Why are we talking about painful things?
Because it was a question asked. D'Amico just wants to avoid all pain right now, so we'll do that. But I would rather. I still would rather walk on ice because I don't want to burn my feet. I don't like hot things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, we got some more time. What is your favorite animated movie, and can you recite your favorite line or a part of a song from it, if it had songs in your favorite animated movie?
Oh dear.
I know.
My favorite animated movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna say right now at this point in my life, it's gotta be Frozen 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to sing Lucky You. But the Into the Unknown song feels really fitting for where we are in the world right now.
Yeah.
And my 3-year-old loves that song and can sing it word for word, and I think it's the cutest thing ever.
How many times has she watched it?
About 1 million, which is probably why it's my favorite right now, because it's the only animated movie I've seen in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Awesome.
You?
Me. Well, there's lots of favorites, but like my all-time favorite is Cinderella. And I can sing a lot of them, but I'm not going to because I don't know
it.
Then you have to sing yours.
Karaoke. Just kidding.
That's also a question on here. We'll ask next week. But
oh no.
I've been avoiding that one. No, like so like a couple weeks ago, I was like, it was like a Sunday, and I'm like, hey, what are we gonna do? And so I watched the animated version, and I sang, and then for the next week, I had Sweet Nightingale stuck in my head, because it's like, oh, Sweet Nightingale. Yeah.
You just sang.
I did just sing. So that was one of them, but I love like, oh, Gus Gus. Like, it just cracks me up. I love Cinderella.
So cute.
It is. So that would be my favorite animated movie.
All right.
Now, for the hard question of the day.
Okay.
What was one of the, like, straight up, like, we just immediately went, new switch.
Okay.
What was one of the toughest things you went through, and what steps did you take to get through it?
Good grief.
I know. Like, we're missing transition questions. We need you to ask more questions, please.
Yes.
Ask more questions.
So I'll talk about the last year and a half. How about?
How about that?
We were coming off of a really bad year, where we had moved, and it just wasn't the situation we thought it would be, and it was really hard for a variety of reasons. And we moved back, and we were settled, and I was losing weight and gaining a little more self-confidence. And that was when I shaved my head, which, by the way, I need a haircut so bad, so
Me.
bad. And then we found out we were pregnant with our new little baby, and that sucked for a long time for me. And I'll be very honest and say I was not in love with him until I saw him. My body does not handle being pregnant well. I do not do labor well. I probably should have not had more kids after my first one. I should have been a one and done. Somehow we ended up with 2 more, but
And they're so sweet.
they are
I love
adorable.
them.
So what steps, because I'm still going through that, right? Like I
Yeah.
have gained back all the weight that I had lost plus some. And so what are steps that I'm taking, right? What steps am I taking to get through it?
What steps did you originally take? Like when you were first dealing with
The other thing?
finding out you were pregnant, what were some of those steps that you took?
Well, there was a lot of crying. I had to let myself, I thought it was really important that I let myself feel angry and not also feel guilty about feeling angry. Like I remember showing my husband the pregnancy test and immediately crying afterwards. And so I really hated it. I started a blog series and then I ran out of things to say about how much I didn't want to be pregnant, so I just kind of stopped. But
Did that help though?
yeah, I just allowed myself to feel how I needed to feel.
Okay.
And then it went really quick, it felt like. So I want to be really clear when I say this. I think God is always with us. Is always with us. But I think most of the time where we change the most is when we are in deep despair. And so one of the things that I was worried about with having a new baby was how are my other 2 children going to react to this? Especially the one who is my middle one, who was the youngest, because we babied her because we thought she was the last one. And I remember us all being home together for the first time. And oh my gosh, those girls love that little boy.
Yes, they do.
And so getting home and thinking, wow, this is way more than about me, first of all. But also, this almost looks like it was supposed to happen because of how well everything happened. But I think God was prepping me for that by meeting me in my despair and saying, it's okay to feel this way. You don't know what it's going to look like in 9 months, but I do. And I know it's going to be good. So, with COVID and everything else, there's this idea that I've been really stuck on the last few weeks, because we sing songs about God having armies of angels and whatnot, right? And Him being before us and behind us. And that idea has really stuck with me recently, is that God is in front of us. He has already seen what happens after all of this.
Correct.
But He is also behind us, protecting us from ourselves, basically, and looking back at nostalgia, because nostalgia is dangerous.
It is.
And He can protect us from that if we allow Him. So it's more of, okay, the situation I'm in right now really sucks. It's acknowledging that, but then also being able to say, okay, God, in my deepest, darkest moment, can you promise me that it's better on this side?
Yeah.
And I think every time it's a yes. If you will just follow me, if you will just let me walk you through this, it's a yes. So, so that's just me. We're still working on the self-confidence thing. We'll get there.
You'll get there.
We'll get there. You?
Me. Yeah, I think one of the toughest things that I've ever been through was our miscarriages. Like it was hard, and I remember, like, so I'm pretty sure we had one when we first moved to Kansas City, and I just didn't know that's what it was. Because I've only ever been late, like well, no, 5 times in my life, and 4 of those I was pregnant. So, like, yeah. And so I'm wondering if that too. So then the first one, we were pregnant, and we were excited. We'd been trying for 2.5 years. And so then we were pregnant, and then it was like, and then we weren't. And that was really hard. And then it was another 2.5 years before we were pregnant again. And right before that, we had decided if we didn't have any kids in 5 years, then I would go to school to become an interpreter. Or if we did, I would wait till they were in school, and then I could go back to school. And so I had a long, hard, crying conversation with God because we weren't pregnant, and I went into the program, and then I was pregnant. And so I was ecstatic, and I was excited, and I remember we went in for our appointment, and there was no heartbeat. And so he was like, I need you to go get an ultrasound, and we went and got the ultrasound, and there was nothing, and so I had to have a D&C. And I remember like going into our doctor's office, and he sat down, and he cried with us, and he prayed with us. But I think after that, for a little bit, I was just numb. Like, I just couldn't feel anything, and but I remember when, so there was that, and then it was like, God, and I think, like, I was going through school, and so I was keeping myself busy, and then I was sitting in the hallway one day, and I was like, I don't care about this grade. And if you know me, I care about my grades. Like, I know what my GPAs were in high school and college, and, like, striving for that A was so important, and I sat here, and I was like, I don't care, and then I was like, I don't care, then I don't care. And I knew in that moment that I was in a very deep and dark place that I have never been, like, in my life. And so I was like, I need to get away. And so in dealing with that, I went, and music was a big thing for me. So when something came on the radio and it connected, I just let myself cry. I let myself feel all those things. And I went by the water one day and just sat and was journaling, and that would help. And I was like, God, all I've ever wanted to be is a mom. He's like, you are, and they're with me, and they're okay. Like, it's okay. And so then I was pregnant again, like in 2 months, and I was not ready to be pregnant. And so I was scared, and I was like, God, I can't do this. Again, I can't. And then I started spotting one day. Like, it was a Sunday morning, and I texted a friend, and I was like, I'm spotting. I'm terrified. I was like, in 11 weeks, I was like, I can't do this. And I went to church because that was what we did. And I was running the slides. And then the doctor called and said, you need to go home. And I told Pastor Denzel and Pastor Tom, and they're like, go home, go to bed. And I figured out, like, I'm pregnant. And then I was on bed rest. And that was really hard for me to not be able to do anything, because that's how I learned to cope with my anxiety and my stress, was to do, and I couldn't do anything. And so I leaned into Jesus, and I journaled, and I prayed, and I cried. And then one day I was at an Al-Anon meeting with a friend, and they were like, do you trust your higher power? And I was like, no, I don't trust God right now. I do not. And I was like, and that's not okay. And so while pregnant with Jericho, my oldest, who's now 13, and all new sorts of trials, every day I would just hold my hands, and I would say, God, I'm going to trust that you're going to take care of me no matter what happens. Like, I don't know if she's going to live or not, but I'm going to trust you're going to take care of me. And so it was just a daily ritual that I went through. And so even now in, like, COVID, and now in other tough times that I've had since then, I'm going to say, okay, God, I don't know what's happening. Like, just recently, I have small fiber neuropathy in my face, and that was a really hard thing to go through a couple months ago. And I just had to say, God, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust that you're going to take care of me no matter what, that you are working behind the scenes, and I may not see you working, but I can get through this because I know, like you said, you are before me, you are beside me, and you are behind me, and you love me, and you care for me, and you are paying attention. And so it's in those moments that I grew close. It was in that moment that I think I really learned what it meant to trust in God. And so that's what's getting me through all of this, is that I know, like you said, there is something on the other side.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I need to ask you a question,
Okay.
because it kind of goes with this conversation.
Okay.
Are we out of questions?
We
done?
are. That was my
Okay,
last question
okay,
for the day.
I'm going to venture,
Okay.
because I had some pushback with my experience in the last year.
Mhm.
So, for those of them watching, we are friends.
We are really good friends.
We are really good friends. Cool.
Apparently she doesn't think that, so now I'm going to be getting to question our friendship.
I am a words of affirmation person.
I
So
know, me too.
That was
And
dope.
so
Okay,
that's why
anyway.
like your words did not affirm. my
Anyway. Whatever.
Okay,
So
question.
my question is this. Miscarriages suck. I have never had one. In fact, I was the one who was pregnant and begging not to be. Our stories are two very different things. And I'm going to guess that there is someone who watches this who is mad at me and simultaneously feels empathy for you. How do we bridge that gap between how do we bridge the gap between the woman who has tried everything and gone through everything to me, the woman who didn't want anymore and got one and had to go through it?
Right. I think it's that, and it's gonna sound like just that candy expression, but to love our neighbor. Like, we are all going through life differently, and I have to remember, like, so straight up, like, I think, like, for you too, like, I recognize that, because if I was pregnant again, I don't know what I'd do. Like, even though I went through, like,
You're older
two,
than me,
maybe
though.
3 miscarriages
Right.
and had my 2 children, after those, because of also other stuff, I had to take blood thinners. Well, like, pregnancy was hard. And I have 2 children, and I know where I am emotionally and stressfully. And so anytime I ever thought I might be pregnant, I was freaked out because I did not want to be pregnant. Like, so I think I've experienced both realms of that. And so I think for anybody watching, it's like, it's not about us, it's about them. So it's walking with them through what they're going through. And I remember the anger that I would feel having those miscarriages, and then friends just popping out babies like it was no big deal with several dads. Like, it was hard for me, and I was like, God, how can they? Or like other women who can't take care of their kids, and I had to stop. That's when I stopped watching the news, because people were throwing babies away. People were hurting them because they didn't want them. And I'm like, I want one so desperately.
Right.
And so I think it's like, we all come at life differently, and we all know what we can handle, and as women we have got to support one another. And it's not about me. Like, my situation's not about me, or your situation's not about me, so I'm going to love you in your situation.
Right.
You know, and hope that someone will love me in my situation when they hear, well, why wouldn't you want another one when you tried so hard for the 2 that you have? You know, and there was a long times, like honestly, like, I would like, well, if I got pregnant and didn't take my blood thinners, you know, like, those were real thoughts in my head when I thought sometimes I might be pregnant, just because of the thought of being pregnant again. And so I think it's just being real with ourselves, and then say, okay, God, you can get me through this. And then for other women, like, you know, we all are going through life differently, and so we just need to support one another in that life and get past ourselves, I think, sometimes to do that.
Right. I was told when we found out we were pregnant with Miles, I was told by a friend who doesn't have children, who always wanted to have children. She told me, you can't feel guilty for what God is giving you. So
Yeah.
that was hard to learn, because I would feel guilty. I would feel very guilty, like, because I would think of you and other people that I know that have had miscarriages or who have wanted to have kids, and here I am sitting and complaining because I've had 3 healthy babies, thankfully. But Miles, especially after he has been born, has just been not a reassurance, but a reminding me of that while I did carry him, and while I did do all the hard work, I tease my husband, I do all the hard work.
We do all the hard work.
And that men have useless nipples. It's a funny joke. It's a funny joke. Anyway, that his life isn't about me. I was carrying him for a greater purpose that only God sees.
Yeah.
And so I am thankful for that opportunity. Now I am. But in the moment, I think it's okay not to be okay.
It is okay
I
not
think
to be okay.
I think for people that are professing that because you love Jesus, you have to be happy-go-lucky all the time. I would remind you that Jesus stood at the foot of a temple, or at the foot of a tomb, and wept for a friend.
Yeah.
And mourned for a friend. And he looked over a city and mourned for a city. And so it's okay to not be okay.
And if it's
Anyway.
not, I'm in trouble.
What is?
If it's not okay to not be
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I'm in
I
trouble.
was like, wait, what?
Like, you know,
No,
because
it's okay
there's
to
so
not be
many
okay.
times in my life. And I think, but those times when I'm not okay is the times that God shows up even more. You know, like he's always present. It's those moments when I need him the most. Like he shows up in huge ways and just holds me.
And
Carries me through it.
even like, sometimes you have to wonder too, though, or at least I do. My story is for someone, and your story is for someone else. And so
Yeah.
it's about being able to be confident in your story,
Yeah.
even in the times that you aren't confident about it.
Yeah.
Just to be honest and say, like what you said, I had 2 miscarriages and then I didn't want any more, and look at me now. Or for me being like, I really didn't want another child, and he's pretty darn cute, so.
I was terrified to
Right.
be pregnant again, and I didn't trust God with the
Right,
third one.
so it's just
Yeah. Like
scary stuff.
It is, and I think we work through that and we grieve differently, and it's important to grieve. Like it was important for me to grieve the loss of those 2 babies. Like, and our daughters know about them. They know about our miscarriages. We called it, like, my husband always, like, his side of the family all had boys. There was 1 girl cousin on each side, and so, you know, we think they could be boys, and so we tell them they have 2 brothers in heaven. You know, I may or may not be right, but
You got a
that's
50-50 chance.
right. And so that's how we, I think, coped, and that's like, so they know too that our family is bigger than just the 4 of us. Because I do believe in life at conception and that, and it's okay to grieve those. It's okay to grieve being pregnant. It's okay to grieve when you don't want to be, and it's okay to grieve the loss of those miscarriages. And I'm glad that society is able to start talking about things more, because when I had them, we didn't talk about them. And I remember that Sunday, the first Sunday after my miscarriage, I went into church and we were singing about bless the Lord, O my soul, and I will sing praise, and I will bless the Lord, and I was like, and I, you know, and you walk in with your face like, oh, well, life's great, and I'm gonna come into church and everything's okay, and I was like, everything sucks right now, like, and I just started crying, and I left because I was like, I felt like it was not okay to not be okay in church, and I'm gonna tell you this, Pastor, like, it's okay to not be okay in church. It should be the safest place to not be okay. So when you walk in my doors and you're not okay, it's okay to let me know that. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to break down in church. It's okay to come to the Lord not okay. That's how he wants us.
Yep.
It's honest.
Cool.
I know. That was some deep stuff.
Woof.
Woo-hoo. We're ready.
You gonna close this
Oh, I
out?
do gotta close this out.
I mean,
So,
you
know,
opened,
that
so you
awkward
gotta
stuff that
close.
I open, I close. So we are so thankful again that you have joined us for this time, and hopefully that this is as beneficial to you as it is to us, and definitely ask us more questions, and we will see you next Wednesday at 2:00.